cities that are both full of potential, the cradle of civilization and democracy and arts and civilization, and cities that are full of abuse when there isn't a rule of law and there is open corruption and power. My own experience was coming back into Australia after studying overseas, setting up a legal practice in the city of St Kilda, working with people who couldn't afford legal services, discovering that most of their problems were driven by political issues, not legal issues. What had happened in St Kilda, which was typical of inner cities, waves of migrants come through and then they become wealthy enough and they buy in the middle class outer suburbs. Suddenly people had said, what are we doing this for? The inner suburbs are right next to the city where we work. St Kilda's on a bay, and they started to buy up the inner city workmen's cottages, rip out the briquette heaters, put in central heating, heritage colours, tripling rents, tripling house prices, and generations of poor people who had lived in St Kilda, whose kids couldn't afford a holiday bed, at least they could have access to the beach, were now being forced to the outskirts of Melbourne, where there wasn't public transport. And there wasn't even Luna Park, which we had in St Kilda, or a beach. And so my own journey was to actually run for council and get elected on a platform of putting ratepayers' dollars into affordable housing for long-term St Kilda poor. We were the first council anywhere in Australia to do this. Federal and state governments looked after housing. It wasn't our local council responsibility. My argument was very simple with St Kilda residents. I said, do we want to all be like Carlton? St Kilda people hate Carlton. In Carlton, everyone wears a Rolex watch and now drives a BMW, totally gentrified, urbanised. I said, don't we actually like a heterogeneous mix? The fact that there are boarding houses and some street people, and that you can go down to Ackland Street, St Kilda, dressed up to shop, or with your dressing gown on and a cigarette out of your mouth, and nobody looks twice because it's an accepting area. A cultural argument actually saw me and others get elected to the St Kilda Council, and in that first year put $15 million of ratepayers' dollars into affordable housing, saying that cities that are heterogeneous actually are what make them vibrant.